Conservatives, please don't be like this guy. Now, this guy in question is the one you see on your screen. His name is Connor Estelle. If you don't know, if you've been living under a rock, I'm covering this a little bit late, but he was featured on Jubilee for Mehdi Hasan's, as you can see, one progressive versus 20 far-right conservatives, and he was obviously one of the far-right conservatives. Now, he said some less than savory things on whenever he, I don't know what you call it, debated him, if you can call this a debate, this format. And he basically called himself a fascist, which is the biggest problem here. He also said he was in favor of autocracy. I don't know if that's such a problematic thing. I think the problem here is fascist, and he's a self-proclaimed fascist. I don't know if he actually believes that or if he was just being edgy or something. But as we'll see, he does like kind of that edgy humor. But unfortunately for him, he got fired from his job after appearing on this show. So we're going to play what he said and why I find issues with it. And yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about why I think he should take responsibility personally, in my opinion. And I don't think this is cancel culture. But we'll see what he said first, and then I'll talk about it more.
I frankly don't care being called a Nazi. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I said, are you a fan?
Oh, sorry, this is sped up a little bit. Let's go back. All right.
I frankly don't care being called a Nazi at all.
I didn't say that. I didn't actually say that. I said, are you a fan of the Nazis?
Well, they persecuted the church a little bit. I'm not a fan.
Okay. Are you a fan of the Nazis? Is like the most layup question. Like, how hard is it to answer? Are you a fan of the Nazis? No. No, I'm not a fan of the Nazis. How, like, just say that. Just say no. Like, why do you have to qualify your answer? Well, actually, I like this thing that they did. I don't like that. Just say no. Like, how hard is it to just say no?
Of that, but
what about the persecution of the Jews?
Well, I mean, I certainly don't.
Yeah, I find a problem with the persecution of Jews. Obviously, that's evil and wrong and should be condemned. That's all you have to say. You don't have to qualify your answer in this weird way. Like, why are you... You're just giving... Mehdi Hasan is a good debater, right? Obviously, he's insane, but he's good. In this Jubilee thing, I'm going to get off topic a little bit, but basically he's good at dragging these guys off topic or getting them on some other point that isn't related to the question, whatever they're debating. And so that's what he's doing right now with this guy.
Well, I mean, I certainly...
Like, but here he's just digging himself a hole. Like, he's qualifying his answer. Like, just say no. Obviously, the Nazi. He's giving this guy Mehdi Hasan ammunition. Is what I'm saying. Like, it's just frustrating to watch a conservative kind of bury himself in this way against somebody who's a skilled debater.
Don't support anyone's human dignity being assaulted. I'm a Catholic,
but you don't condemn Nazi persecution of the Jews.
Yes, I condemn Nazi persecution of Jews. You can see this lady. She's like, is this person? How hard is it to say no? Like, no, I don't support the Jews. Yes, I condemn the persecution. Like, it's like cut and dry. Like, it's a simple answer. It shouldn't be that hard.
I think that there was a little bit of persecution.
A little bit of persecution is wild. Calling the Holocaust a little bit of persecution is crazy. I mean, like I said, just say, yes, I condemn it. It's not that hard. It's not even related to the question that they're debating. They're debating if Trump is defying the Constitution. This has nothing to do with this. But anyway.
You may have to rename this show because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you could say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am.
Smiling now. I'm just
Okay, and this is the part that really I'm not even gonna watch this commentary because they I feel like they talk about something completely unrelated. They go into religion a little bit. I'm like, this has nothing to do with religion. Like, I'm also a Catholic, so what? This has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But yeah, that's basically what got him fired. The fact that he was like, I'm a fascist, and he found it so funny. Now, like I said, I don't know if he was just talking in jest or if he seemed to find it funny, but it's unclear if he actually believed this. You know, I feel like conservatives are trying to do this thing where they like language that liberals will throw at us, like we'll take and try to accept, like, oh, like you call me a racist, like, sure, I'm a racist. But it only works if it's obvious that you're joking. Like, I'll say this, like, if somebody, like, I'll call myself, like, yeah, I'm racist, like, straight up. Like, I hate Hispanic people. Me being Hispanic, like, obviously it's not true, but it's in jest. Like, you have to make it obvious that you're joking. And obviously, if you're going to do it on a public platform, you have to be more so. You have to be careful more so, especially if you're somebody with a job. Like, this isn't a full-time influencer. This is somebody with a regular dude with a job. I don't know how old he is. I feel like he's pretty young, but, you know, I believed some crazy stuff when I was young. What I'm saying is I don't know if he believes really in fascism or if he's just saying that as a joke, like how I would say. that I'm a racist if somebody's like accusing you of being racist for whatever belief you have. But you have to make it more clear. But it seems maybe he is a fascist. And I feel like even he was a little apprehensive of revealing who he was. And I feel like he recognized that some of his views might get him in trouble because, as you can see in this clip a little bit earlier, he was kind of apprehensive to say his real name. He was going to say his pseudonym, which is Pinesap, I believe, on Twitter. I think he changed his name now. But you'll see in this clip here, he didn't really want to reveal who he was.
Look like under you. Sorry, what's your name?
My name's Connor. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Took a little bit of a doubt there.
Oh, well, I use a pseudonym online.
Fair enough.
But fair enough.
How would Connor...
So I just showed that clip to show he's kind of aware that he's going to say some crazy stuff, I feel like. Because otherwise he would have used, or he wouldn't have been apprehensive to use his real name. He would have just said, oh, my name's Connor. Like, I feel like he was debating whether to use his pseudonym because he realized that he could have faced some consequences here for revealing his opinions in a public platform. Now, first of all, I want to say, as someone with a real job who espouses his opinions online that are also conservative, I don't have that big of a channel. Not that many people see my stuff. Not that many people know who I am. I haven't said my real name on here. I don't think it's, unless somebody recognizes my face and, pinpoints me, I don't think anybody could figure out who I am. This guy is on a video with now 8 million views almost, saying his real name and having a publicly linked Twitter account to him, or at least I think it was linked to him. I don't know how they figured out who he was, but I'm sure they looked up his name, right? If I had a real job and I was on a platform like this, first of all, I would debate even. I feel like I would be an established creator by the time I was on a platform like Jubilee, like in front of millions of people, risking my job because I realized the consequences. And I feel like that's what I'm trying to get at here. Like, you know what you're doing. You know what you're getting into. Like, maybe conservatism is about personal responsibility in some sense. And you got to be personally responsible. Like, you know what you're doing. You're on a public platform. Millions of people are going to see you. You want some clout. It's why you're here, all right, straight up. And I get it. Like, I would accept this also. But you can't go espouse your opinions, mind you, very radical compared to mine. Like, I have some pretty toned down opinions. Especially, like I said, you have to know your audience. If you're in front of millions of people and you know a lot of them aren't going to agree with you, you have to tone it down a little bit. You can't be this edgelord that you are on Twitter. You know what I mean? But like I said, maybe he's young. Maybe he's a little bit, like I said, more radical. I mean, I was radical when I was younger. I said some crazy stuff, I'm sure. But yeah, you have to realize what you're saying and recognize the risk. Like, I know there's a risk that I can be found out this channel and like, I'd expect a warning hopefully, but that's because I don't say stuff that's that crazy, I think. But yeah, let's go over a little bit of what he said. So he said he was in favor of autocracy. That's basically a dictator. For those of you that don't know, he's in favor of an autocrat. It sounds like he likes monarchy. Like he's in favor of this fella, Francisco Franco, who I wasn't really familiar with before this, but they brought him up, and he's kind of like a monarchist, and it seems like Spain really did well under him economically. He's like a libertarian, I think, in some way. So I'd have to look more into this guy. He seems interesting, but he supported the Axis powers during World War II, so obviously he's kind of viewed in a negative light. And Mehdi Hasan described some of his, like, killing political opponents and things like this, which obviously I'm not in favor of. I have to make very clear because I'm not like this guy Connor. Anyway, yeah, so I feel like this was problematic, that he was kind of supportive of somebody who was supportive of the Nazis in a way. And then he describes himself as a fascist, obviously, which is a big problem. Now, I actually don't know what exactly fascist means. Like, I usually relate it, I guess, to the Nazis or something like this, like a ultra, like, nationalist, like, controlling of the media, like, I don't know, like statism. I don't know exactly what. It's kind of unclear. And as you can see by these articles, it seems like it's kind of unclear to the people. Like CNN writing an article last year, people are calling Trump a fascist. What does that mean? Seems like here, Harris called Trump a fascist. Experts debate what fascism is. Like, it seems like it's a little bit contentious what fascism actually means. But if we look at some of these characteristics of fascism, as Google says, I actually don't disagree with all of these. Obviously, some of them are problematic. We'll go through them one by one. Authoritarianism, like concentration of power, I'm not against that necessarily. Like, I'm kind of like Connor. I would be in favor of a dictatorship, of an autocratic state, depending on who the autocrat is. The likelihood of me being in favor of me being a supporter of the autocrat is very low. So kind of by default, I'm not really in favor of autocracy. Because basically, I'd have to put me as the autocrat, and that's never going to happen. So unless I'm the dictator, I'm not in favor of a dictatorship. But I'm not necessarily against it, in principle. The problem is putting a morally just dictator in place, which is very difficult. Ultranationalism. I'm also not opposed to ultranationalism. It depends on what that means. Like here it says, promoting the idea of superiority and desire for territorial expansion. Territorial expansion is a little bit problematic in the 21st century. Maybe back when we were colonizing, back when Manifest Destiny was a thing, when we were colonizing the Western frontier, this was fine. But nowadays it's like you have to invade another country you have to start a war basically to do this. So if nationalism, I'm in favor of nationalism. If it means like territorial expansion, then obviously not, right? Militarism, using the military to advance your goals. I'm not really in favor of this, but like I said, these are kind of contentious. I'm not 100% sure what all these mean. And this is where it gets problematic, really. This is where you really identify this with Nazism. Suppression of opposition, obviously not in favor of that. I don't even have to read that. That's self-explanatory. And cult of the leader. So also something that I'm not in favor of. We already have that with Trump, I feel like, and I'm not in favor of that. I'm actually kind of, on a side note, I'm actually kind of glad that Trump has gotten criticism recently for the Epstein files, because I think Trump has too much influence over the Republican Party. And so I'm kind of glad that he's losing that influence a little bit. I want the party to have new faces, people that have their own ideas, not somebody that basically Trump picked. And I feel like that's something that would have happened if Trump didn't lose favor with his base. So I'm kind of glad that he is losing favor. But anyway, all this to say, this is why fascism is a problematic word, mostly because of militarism, the suppression of opposition. I feel like this is seen obviously very negative and can identify you with a Nazi. And it doesn't help that Connor's being kind of vague, kind of not wanting to deny or condemn the Nazis outright or openly. He seems a little vague about it. He kind of dances around it. He's not direct. No, the Nazis were wrong. He's like, well, I don't know. I kind of don't like that they suppressed the Jews. That wasn't that great of a thing. They did it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like what he's saying. So anyway, after this unfortunate fiasco for him, he started to give Sengo, which is basically a GoFundMe. And he set the goal at $15,000. Now, this is where I have a problem. Because I don't have a problem with him. I mean, it's a free country. I believe in the First Amendment, obviously. So he's free to say whatever he wants. Like how I'm free to say whatever I want. Except the difference is I recognize that I have a responsibility to represent my employer whenever I'm out and about, you know what I mean, in public, because I work for them. They'll tell you, if you've worked a retail job, they'll tell you this whenever they give you the shirt. Like, oh, you can wear the shirt whenever you're out and about. Just remember you're representing the company when you do this. And I feel like it's more so, they don't tell you this when you get like a white collar job, but I feel like it's more so whenever you do get a white collar job. And I personally believe conservatism is about personal responsibility. I already said this. And so I think you should deal with the consequences. You know what the consequences are and could be. So deal with them. Just accept what they are. I recognize that if somebody found my channel, my job had a problem with it, and they didn't give me a warning, they fired me on the spot, I would be upset, but I would understand it. Because, I mean, like I said, I don't say anything too radical. I don't say anything too out there, hopefully. It's a small channel. Like, hopefully by the time I got fired, like, look, I'm not an idiot like this guy. This guy went on a channel that he knows gets millions of views and said his real name, and he doesn't have a phone. He's not an influencer yet. Like, bro, what are you doing? Like, at least make sure you can make a living off this in the case that you get fired. You know what I mean? Like, if I go on a Jubilee or something, best believe I'm milking that episode and getting as many views as I can so that I can parlay that into a career in the case that I get fired. And mind you, I don't think any of the other people on this episode got fired. So just don't say anything that crazy. Just watch your tongue a little bit. Like, mind what you're saying. So anyway, I have a problem with this, but we'll read through this a little bit. He says, fired for my political beliefs. My name is Connor, and I was recently shown the latest Jubilee episode. As a result, fortunately, I was subsequently released from my job, raising money as an emergency fund for other expenses while I look for a new job. You know what this is? This is called, he said it himself, an emergency fund. You know what? You should have already had an emergency fund, because that's the responsible adult thing to do. Get a job, you save money for your expenses, and then you go out and live your life. That's what an emergency fund is. This isn't an emergency fund. This is you e-begging. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, voicing fully legal traditionalist right-wing political views results in consequences. Yeah, no shit. I mean, you say something insane, people are gonna react. You know what I mean? This is cancel culture and political discrimination on full display. Now, I don't think this is cancel culture because your employer is in their full rights to let you go at any time for any reason. They don't have to. They don't have to hire you. You know, they don't have to keep you after they see you've gone viral. Yeah, it's not their responsibility to keep you on. What I think is cancel culture is when your free speech is suppressed. Now, I guess in a roundabout way, his free speech is getting suppressed because his income is getting. But I mean, like I said, it's at will employment. Your employer can get rid of you at any moment for whatever reason. And maybe I could see it being political discrimination, but even that is a little bit questionable to me. I mean, like I said, none of the other people got fired from their job. They're all conservatives. So it's not necessarily political discrimination. It's the fact that you're an edgelord and insane if you actually are a fascist. And see, like I said, I don't even know what capacity he's a fascist. So anyway, so yeah, he links to the video that I just showed you earlier. And yeah, that's basically it. So he's raised $38,000 so far, this Connor Estelle, from a goal of 15,000. I don't know exactly how this platform works. Like, I don't know if he's going to keep the full 38,000 or if he's going to give back to the people that donated, like whatever the limit is. Like, I think on GoFundMe, you have like a flexible limit where you either keep whatever's above your goal or you give it back. I don't know how this works, but bro, you do not need $38,000 in living expenses. You don't need $15,000 in living expenses. Like, what are your expenses? Like, you know what you should do? Get a job at McDonald's, man up, all right? Earn your wage. How hard is it to get a new job? And while you're doing that, parlay this into a political speaking career. You know what I mean? Into a political influencer career. That's what I would do. Mind you, I wouldn't be on Jubilee if I wasn't ready to do so. Because I know I'm going to be scrutinized and I have that chance of being recognized at work and be like, hey, aren't you that conservative guy who said that crazy stuff on Jubilee? And I'm going to pretend that I didn't hear them. And I'm going to keep doing that until I get fired. That would be my game plan. But by that point, I would already have readied myself for expecting this. Because like I said, you have to be responsible. You know that this can happen. So anyway, I do think this guy has some kind of out there views. So you can see here, he's kind of like, you have to be careful with your social media nowadays. Like, every job will tell you, like, oh, well, I don't know if every job does this, but jobs tell you, like, yeah, we review Instagrams and Facebooks and we look at your online footprint to see like what you're putting out there. If a job looks you up and they see this, you doing the Nazi salute, saying you're hyped to see Minecraft, quote unquote Minecraft, doing the Nazi salute, like, bro, like, I get it, it's funny, like, sure, if you're an influencer and you have nothing to lose, but you have a real job, like, you're a real person, you have to be careful. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be doing stupid stuff like this. Oh, and I had this tab just to say, this is what he should do. All right? He's making the smart decision here. I'm going to start streaming on YouTube again, in addition to Robo. Smartest thing he said in the past week. This was today, just now, like a few hours ago. So, good for him. I hope he does well. Yeah, just take responsibility for your actions. Don't say dumb stuff. If you're going to be an edgelord, make sure you can afford to be an edgelord, all right? If you're Nicholas J. Fuentes, like, you can say crazy stuff about the Jews, all right? Because this is what you do for a living. And if it's not what you do for a living, you got to watch your tongue. You got to be a little bit more careful, all right? So if you're a conservative influencer out there, look, even if you're religious, like, but like I said, you just have to be careful. Like, don't say stupid stuff. Like, just watch your tongue. Like, don't be an idiot about it. You know when you're being too radical, all right? And you can be, I have some radical views. I don't believe in the minimum wage. That's as radical as you can get, I feel like, in terms of economic policy. But don't say something like, oh, I support the Nazis, I'm a fascist, I don't know, whatever this stuff. Anyway, I'm going in circles now. Yeah, I'm probably going to do a video breaking down the arguments that Mehdi Hasan makes, because I feel like a lot of these conservatives in the video didn't really do a good job of contending with his points. But that's for another day. Hopefully I get that out soon. And yeah, watch your tongue, political conservatives, commentators, influencers. Be careful out there.